If you've experienced this nose hair angle on a camera before, you've probably used a Dell XPS 13. Now we love this laptop, but one of the things we never loved was that low camera that showed the worst angle of you. But now there's a new Dell XPS 13 being announced at CES, and look what we have here.
And it's tiny camera.
It's a tiny little camera, but it's finally at the top of the display. Now, what are we going to complain about in our reviews? I'm not sure, but before we go on, I'm going to show you. This was the old camera that they had underneath the display bezel, and this is the little itty bitty 2.25 millimeter camera that they squeezed into the top bezel. They actually went through a lot of internal design to fit it up there, but we're all very grateful.
And they did say despite it being that small, they've kept the image quality.
Yes, using some digital enhancement because, for instance, you can't get as much light into an aperture that small, but they do enhancement in the background to make sure that you get that brightness. Another thing you're going to notice about this Dell XPS 13, I'm going to have to close this to show you. First of all, a new color, frost white. As you can see, it's maybe a slightly silvery white with a little bit of a sheen, a good winter color. Another thing that they changed, which you can only watch on this video, is that it always used to be hard to open the XPS 13. You kind of have to hold it in both hands and pry it apart. Watch here. I'm going to lift it. And I'm opening it, and only about here is it going to tighten and I'll have to hold on to it. So Dell redesigned the hinge so that in the early part of the opening, it's pretty loose, so you can actually lift it without having to pry it open. And then it tightens up here to get a little bit more of that security, because the issue is that hinges loosen over time. They didn't want it to be too loose. So by making it tighter at the end of the spin, but also building magnets into the side of the laptop so that it would stay closed when it's supposed to be closed, allowed them to create a little looseness so you don't have to hold it down or pry it open when you're first opening it up. So, you know, the camera, the hinge thing, you might see these as small improvements, but for a laptop as popular as the XPS 13, these are major quality of life enhancements on an already really nice laptop.